heaven. So when you see me up in heaven, ain't no accident. I'm asking him to stop sex trafficking and African crime on African.
All right, son. You told me we were going down a bunny hole.
Did I? Well, we always obviously always have to go down a bunny hole because
Okay.
that's what we're really all about.
Okay.
We talked about last time. We talked about what our series really is. We're talking about coding.
Okay.
And essentially going back behind the circuit board to do the programming that makes everything appear great in the
Okay.
front. You know,
Okay.
when I go onto my website and I look at stuff on TV, you don't really understand the intricate nature and the
Okay.
intricate work.
Could I
of-
enter it? Yeah, that. Okay.
That to interject or internet or what exactly?
Apparently my coding stopped working.
Glitch in the code.
Glitch in the
Okay.
code. But I was going to interject.
Mm.
The Bible then would be Windows.
Okay.
The law would have been the code that was difficult to write, difficult to understand, and difficult to follow.
Okay.
But when the Windows came, now we no longer had to really translate, because now the Holy Spirit in us was going to be that inner code translator.
Okay, so now for me and maybe for everybody else,
Go.
you may need to explain the Windows thing to me. I know you were
Okay.
around when the
Yeah,
internet started.
Yeah.
But for some of
wait,
us-
Wait a minute.
I-
I was not here when the internet started.
Just say.
But nonetheless, the way it used to be is you had to write long lines of code in
Okay.
order to get things to go and get things to function. Well, some guy has some marvelous idea. Why not let us write the code, but we'll put little, you can connect it to images, you can connect it to the place you want to go, you can do this.
Okay.
So by bringing and introducing this whole concept of Windows, it was like we no longer had to write the code.
Huh.
The code was written for us, and all we needed to do was punch the buttons.
So in other words, it became something, the coding became easier to use,
Absolutely.
and you were able to achieve a similar or probably even better looking result.
Better looking. result.
Better looking result.
Absolutely.
So I like that idea.
Okay.
The idea of the law,
Right,
which is old, hard writing code,
right.
that it was good. What does the Bible say about the law? The law is good. The law is
Yeah,
perfect.
Yeah,
It's great. But then something else comes along,
right.
and it doesn't do away with the coding.
Does not.
It makes it easier.
Exactly.
So, in a sense, if we're really talking about, we're talking about coding, you know, behind the circuit board, the Windows essentially would be a electronic term of grace,
Okay.
really allowing. The law is still a part of it, and I think a lot of people get confused. You know, you talk to a lot of people, you talk to a lot of preachers, and they say, well, we don't really need the Old Testament anymore.
Right.
We don't really need the law anymore. And I
Right.
think that's a misinterpretation of what Paul was really getting at.
Right, exactly.
It's, you know, because if we talk about that, you know, I mean, what do Christians learn? We learn the Ten Commandments as little kids.
Right.
You know, thou shalt not lie, thou shalt not steal.
Right.
We don't need the law anymore. Okay, does that mean we get to lie and we get to steal now?
Right, and definitely not okay.
It's not.
You think to yourself what was beginning to happen, and we kind of talked on this and touched on this before,
Mhm.
is that God gave a very specific word for a specific reason, for a specific purpose.
Right.
But what men began to do, because they wanted to have regulations as it was pertaining to other life skills and values, they now started adding stuff. So you had these additional dietary laws. You had the additional laws that had to do with washing your hands. You had
Okay.
a whole bunch of things. And eventually, this evolved from these 10 commandments to 638 additional pieces. And now it becomes difficult again. But notice what Jesus says, that you have taken the original code,
Okay.
and now tradition has become more important, what God originally wanted from man.
And if you really look at the code, you know, a lot of people say Jesus came and he had these new ideas and these new thoughts. And if you really look at what Jesus said, I mean, Jesus was more orthodox than any of them.
Absolutely.
If you look at those two commandments that he gave them, love the Lord, that hear is the Lord thy God is one. You shall love the Lord with all thy heart, all thy mind, all thy soul, and strength. And the second commandment is likened to the first, love thy neighbor.
So when you see me up in heaven, ain't no accident. I'm asking him to stop sex trafficking and African crime on African assassination, sin in the congregation.